Welcome to My Wealth video number 4, Understanding Social Security at Full Retirement Age. In this video we'll look at how the Social Security Administration utilizes your year that you were born in to determine what your percentage is and how much you will draw prior to and after your full retirement age. We'll also look at the point of higher earnings, which will help you determine whether you should draw at 62, 66, or 70. Okay, let's talk about understanding Social Security at full retirement age, or FRA. So the benefits as a percentage of primary insurance, or PIA, it's payable at the ages of 62 to 67 and all the way out to age 70 at this point, and 70 beyond. They have not changed. So if you were born between 1943 and 54, your full retirement age would be 66. And in this case, Bud was born in 1954, so his full retirement age is 66. So the first day he turns 66, that month is his birth month, so he can start drawing. If, on the other hand, Laura, she was born in 1955, so she had to wait until 66 and 2 months. And as you can see, they just increased by 2 months all the way out to 1960 and later. And for anybody born at 1960 and later, your full retirement age is 67. And the credit of increase is 8% for everybody up to those age periods. Over here on this side of the chart, this is just a breakdown per month if you are only going to draw, say, the first 6 months. So you just type in what your full retirement PIA is at full retirement. In this case, Bud is looking at this, so he's looking at 2347. And as you watch over here, I'll change this number. This is the only box you actually have to put anything in, so we'll change it to 2300. And if you can watch, all the numbers will change, so it will tell you how much and what percentage is the difference between each of them, the increase, monthly increase or decrease by month. So go back and we'll leave that at 2347, and that's basically, if you want to look at the chart, it's right off of the Social Security webpage, and it will identify each one of the breakdowns for each one of the years and what the different percentages are. Let's talk about the Social Security planning tab. Okay, so this chart is relatively simple, but there's quite a bit of data that's available in it. All the data is based upon 2019, link to the Social Security website on this page. Just wanted to remind you that you have to have at least 40 quarters have paid into the Social Security system in order to draw Social Security. 40 quarters is basically 10 years. They don't have to be consecutive. You just have to have paid in at least 40 quarters over your lifetime or before you can start drawing. They're going to utilize your top 35 years. In video 6, calculating your PIA at full retirement age, I go into a lot of detail on that and how to utilize that and use that data from the Social Security office for your individual top 35 years. So we've got the basic section here that gives you information on your full retirement age and all of the years relative to it, those years prior and those 2 years after. All of this here to the right is just raw data that I used to do some calculations with, and I'll show you how that data turned out and what information I found relative to using full retirement age. So back to Bud's scenario. So Bud at 2020, he's going to be 66 years old, and he's going to draw 2347 roughly. It's an estimate. You can use that information off of the Social Security sheet that's sent to you, or you download it from the Social Security Administration website. So 2347, or you can use your raw data that you can develop off of the highest 35 using video 6, That also will give you an indication, a good estimate of your PIA at full retirement age. So back to this sheet. So let's talk about this area right here. Obviously 2347 came off his Social Security sheet, and then I'll just go through the columns real fast. Obviously this is the delta between full retirement age. If he started drawing at 62, he would have gotten $586 less per month. If he starts drawing at 67, 187, it just shows you. So we'll change this to 2503, and it just shows you how much you will increase each year that you hold off on drawing Social Security. Just a good indication as to what you want to draw. This column is the column for the year, so you type your data in here, the year you turn 66, or if your full retirement age is 67, obviously you'll be working off of this column. But if you're 66, you can still use this one at 2020. And then this one up here, it actually identifies your first year and how many months you're going to draw Social Security. So Bud's going to turn 66 in April, so that's the 4th month of the year. So he's actually going to draw 8 months of full Social Security for that first year. These cells over here on the right hand side, that's the first year relative to how many months. So if you were born in January, obviously you're going to draw 11 months, and so those numbers will change correspondingly. So we're going to go ahead and leave that back at 8 months for him. And so this just shows you in 2019 what the percentage is, reduction based upon full retirement age, and what increases are. And those can be found on this sheet here, and these are the percentages that you would change. So if you were born in 55, these are the percentages that you would use to change over here on this tab right here. Okay, or you can go to the Social Security website and it will actually show you each year. So then what I did was I took all of that data and built it out to see how much I would draw, or Bud would draw, over his lifetime. So this is a risk and reward. And so if you started drawing Social Security at 62 and you think you're going to live to age 75, this is how much money you would have actually earned, how much wealth you would have received from the Social Security Administration. And this accounts for a 1% increase each year. So these numbers will actually vary and differ based upon what Social Security does and how much cost of living increase they give per year. So these numbers will change, but I was conservative and I gave each year a 1% cost for inflation. So it's not exactly how much you would draw, but it gives you a good indication of how much you would draw. But the key point is, when is the point of higher earnings? Okay, so at what point do you actually start making more as you increase over the years? And so what I've done is I've identified for Bud that if he thinks he's going to live to be 78, obviously drawing at 62 is advantageous for him, because 78 pays the highest earnings. Then the next one is yellow, that is 66, and then if he were to start it drawing at 70, he would have made the least amount of money at 78. So it's this window right here is where the transition takes place between the optimum of drawing at 62, 66, or 70. And I've kind of put it in a graph form so you can see that 62, this is the slope going up at 62 all the way out to 105, 66, and 70. And you can see this convergence area where at one point each year that you start drawing has a higher earning, or a point of higher earning. And so they all kind of intersect between 78 and 83. And so it doesn't matter how old you, how much you're making in PIA, okay? And I'm going to show that to you. So I've got a transparent graph of this at 62 and him drawing or his full retirement age, okay? And so at 62, 66, and 70s you can see it. So let's change this to 1875, okay? So if we come back to the chart, the numbers on the side changed, the relative lines changed. It went from 1 million to 800,000 because he's not making as much. So I'll lay the 62 on top of 62, and as you can see, the only difference is the slope, or correction, the angles at which they increase are not as high. So the problem is, or not the problem, but as you can see, you still have the gap relative to each other. So no matter whether you make 2347 or you make 1875, or let's look at, say you make 2598, okay, is what it says. So everything will change and adjust. And as you can see, if I line these back up, they're virtually the same. The scale has changed, so this top line here, which used to be 1 million, it's now 1.2 million. So the graph has increased, but the angles in their relative relationship has not changed. And if you look at here, these numbers have not changed. At 78, it's still 62. That's still 79, and it's still 83. So the numbers and how much of actual earnings you make will increase over time, but when they make the transition will not change. Okay, so we'll change this back to 2347. Okay, and we'll come back over here. And then what I've done here is you can see which one of the years of the top three. So in 75, if you think your life expectancy is going to be 75, obviously you want to start drawing at 62 because it's going to pay you the highest earnings at that point. Okay, the point of highest earnings is 62. It goes out to 76. At 77, it actually jumps from 62, 63, 64. So actually I'm going to show you something else that will be in the chart, and that's this little picture that I have here, so that as you work your way across the chart, you can see what the numbers, the years are, without having to worry about it too difficult. So as you can see, at 78, obviously you want to draw at 64, 79, it jumps at 80, it jumps down to the highest earnings would be at 66, to draw at 66. The second would be 64, and then 63. Okay, and then 62, and it changes and works its way out. And then, as you can see, you think you're going to live out into your early 80s. You might want to wait to 68 if you can. And that goes on out to 84, 69, and 70 actually hits at 86 years old. So if you think you're going to be living 80 or beyond, if you can do it, I would recommend that you can seriously consider waiting until 70 to start drawing Social Security. But other things being equal, if you don't think you have that longevity in your lifespan, then you might want to consider drawing sometime prior to it. Just some information that I saw based upon raw data. Just one other thing is, as you can see, at 94, with his earnings, he will get paid back in Social Security, PIA. He'll make his first million at 94. If he starts drawing at 70, if he starts drawing at 66, he's going to take him out to 96. And to draw his first million at 62, he'll have to live to be 101. Okay? So Social Security, when you draw, is all based upon so many different factors. Your thoughts on life expectancy, obviously whether you need the money now or when you're going to need the money, relative to any 401ks, IRAs, as we talked about in video number 3, building your retirement plan. So I trust that this has been valuable to you, and that you can see the inclines are going to relatively stay the same. The convergence points will be the same for your points of higher earnings. And I wish you the best in making the decision as to when you're going to draw Social Security. Thank you for watching this video presented by My Wealth. Ensure that you check out the other videos that support the Excel sheet that can help you plan for retirement. If you don't have a copy of the Excel file for My Wealth, email me at my.wealth2019@gmail.com, and in the subject line just type My Wealth, and I will send you the Excel file.